Scared of death?
Yeah.
There's nothing to fear, brother.
Yeah, I'm scared of death.
Once more into the breach.
But it's not death itself, it's the implications of death. The implications that it will have on your family.
Now that is sad.
Yeah.
That is one of the saddest things. You made me sad, Shashan.
Yeah, it's more that.
Happy. You made me sad.
It's more that than death itself because...
But I didn't say you were. I said you were scared. I'm sad. You've made me sad.
Yeah.
Because I experienced someone dying recently, and it was very, very tragic.
Someone close?
Relatively, of key hours.
Okay. Any family member you've lost?
I have lost family members. Yeah.
Who's the closest?
Brother.
No way. Your
Yes,
blood
sir.
brother.
Yes, sir.
How old was he?
30 when he died.
No way.
Yes. Have you lost anyone close?
My father.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. I lost my father when I was 1.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I've had to deal with this for my whole life pretty much.
Where were you based when you were 1?
Here.
Yeah.
I was born here,
Yeah.
bred here, South London.
Yeah, in South London. Very nice. Oh, that's. We're all tragic, aren't we? We're all tragic figures.
That's what it is, bro.
But we walk around with bravado.
I think some people have either made peace with their kind of...
Yeah.
I don't want to call it trauma because that word gets thrown around a lot,
I
but
hear what you're saying.
their sadness.
Yeah.
Some people are still in that process where they're projecting onto other people, so they're still in that, the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
So some people are still in there, while some people have just entered that 5 cycles.
Yeah.
Or some people have left,
Yeah.
and they're in a position to kind of help others.
Yeah.
And
Sad
I think
world, isn't it? It's a really sad world.
definitely, bro. I'd say so.
Should we make it?
Unsad.
No. I was going to say, should we turn it into a debate?
Yeah, of course.
With all this sadness and suffering,
Yeah.
how could one possibly believe in a being that loves us and has lots of power? Surely the world should not be so sad and miserable. That's what we call the argument of whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you're filming as well.
They're only on when the white light is on. I put them a little bit for the shade.
Okay. So here the key thing that I think we sidestep is that bad things happening. Is it evil?
I wouldn't ever use words like evil. I think they're too loaded. I see what you're saying. You're saying bad things happening. Are they bad? That was
Sure.
tautology, isn't it?
I could use a synonym.
Yeah. I think another way, like, is suffering bad? And then because we're obviously going to fall in the rabbit hole of saying, doing a gym and you hurt your arm, but you get a bit of strong, and then you're able to pick up the ladies.
Most things, even I think Dostoevsky made this point as well. He said that it's only through soul growth that it actually makes you a better person.
Yeah.
And this is...
But then what do you think of this? I have a friend that deliberately goes towards pain.
Some people like it, bro. They derive pleasure from it.
No, but I mean in the Dostoevsky sense of like, it will grow my soul. So I will go towards pain and suffer.
Yeah.
For I know it will purify me and make me larger.
I definitely think, like, for example, the people that want to become CEO, they're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
They're going to have to put themselves in uncomfortable situations and scenarios. If I am bulking, not bulking, let's just say I'm cutting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go to the gym. I'm going to be aching. I don't know if you've seen those memes about leg day where a gym bro is asking an old woman off the seat. And the text is, sorry, love, is leg day today. So I think for growth in that sense, you have to go through pain.
Yeah.
If you're doing...
Let's make it political. I'm going to... Iran. That's something that's happening at the moment. What are your thoughts?
It's Iran, isn't it? There's all sorts of perspectives being thrown around, being discussed, and I don't know. Like,
can you throw one around, please?
In terms of,
what do you think about the tension? That's a very Britishism. Tension between the regime and the people, and if it's a natural disposition for people to want to be free, and the regime is oppressing them, then that tension becomes very tension.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so it seems like all free people that want the liberty of other free people, or want the liberty of trapped people or oppressed people, we should go the people of Iran.
I think even Iranian kind of pro-Iranian news like Press TV, even they prefaced their covering of the story by saying the what would you call that? The marches, the protests, they started off legitimate. However, there are now credible people. There was an ex-colonel, I think of the UK or US. He was saying that there's clear evidence of Mossad and CIA involvement.
Some absolutely explosive and hugely significant revelations from a former US decorated Army Colonel, Douglas McGregor. Listen to the words.
What you started with were very legitimate protests about the economic conditions in Iran. Those overlapped with a political struggle between reformers and conservatives. This then was developed into a CIA, Mossad, MI6 operation with the introduction of thousands of these Starlight terminals, enormous quantities of money, which in that setting, of course, is going to buy a certain amount of support. And now we have all sorts of evidence that's being provided overseas as well as here at home for instructions given to people in the crowds to fire on the police and provoke the police to shoot back at them in the hopes that people would be killed. And this then would worsen the situation. Well, all of this unfolded and it failed.
So now, based on that, they may have started off credibly, but then it moves on to destabilization of the country. So certain people, credible people will be saying that, look, there's now nefarious forces at work that deliberately is within the national interest that Iran become destabilized. Whilst others will be saying, no, it's completely and holistically a legitimate protest, which...
what do you say?
Well, I tend to agree with the latter, because I've seen enough evidence to suggest that there is Mossad involvement. There is CIA involvement. And of course, there's legitimate protests. Not everyone... I mean, look in the UK. Let's just say we voted for Boris Johnson, but it doesn't mean that we want Boris Johnson to stay. It doesn't mean that the whole population voted for Boris Johnson. So similarly, even now, not everyone, we may have voted for Labour. It doesn't mean that everybody wants Labour.
You don't seem to be energized in the same way that I am energized by this. I think this is a situation of like liberty and life of the Iranian people, and a force called the Iranian regime that's oppressing. I use these words not hyperbolically, as objectively as they can be applied. The life there is quite hard when you get closer to the regime. It's a big country and there's countryside and such. But like there's restriction, heavy restriction. And so when someone says, I'm in a freedom fight, I thought you were energized by freedom fights and you're on the side of the people to throw off the shackles. But it seems like when we look at Iran, it seems like you're quiet, you're doing a Britishism. You're saying, you quiet the fuel of these arguments. Like,
what made you say that from what I said?
Because you sort of said, maybe there's a bit of this, maybe a bit of that. It's
Isn't that true though?
Well, so I just want to set up one question. Let's say I was a nation. I'm very clever in intelligence and practical in military application, the application of force. And I looked at my brethren in the human race getting oppressed. Do you think I have a right or obligation to intervene in the harm of a sentient being?
Intervene how?
Intervene by causing an action which could cause harm to the perpetrators and to alleviate the suffering to the victim and to hopefully liberate and enshrine the freedom and rights of an individual and to try to apply justice where it may land.
Yeah, me as a Muslim,
Yeah, so let's say I had that nation and
just to qualify it, the Prophet peace be upon him said that if you see something bad happening, try to change it with your hands. If you can't do that, change it with your tongue. If you can't do that, then at least think it to be wrong. So that's from my worldview. I'm curious to see why you're coming from that. Like, where do you get that from?
I get it because I believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so I think these things are self-evident, that humans like to live by their liberty, their freedom, and their happiness. They like their joys and pleasures. And if you experience life, you realize to oppress someone, it's like an objective harm you do to the person. Not many people. It's almost like fundamental to decision making that you need to be free. It's a horrible thing to be oppressed. And so life, liberty, and to live freely, to not be killed, such and things. That's my dream. I just set them up as axioms. We take these things to be self-evident, life, liberty, and
not necessarily, because even when you're talking about liberty, you have to qualify that. Liberty in what sense? You're not a you're not a libertarian in the sense that you believe in absolute and complete freedom, because no society can function like that, right? So there has to be a degree of kind of curtailing your freedom, and that's where contractarianism comes into kind of consideration. And what contract is being applied in what country, and what freedoms are you having to give up? For example, in America, we're seeing the kind of oppression that's taking place with regards to ICE and certain people standing up. And I'm sure you will have the same energy that you have in Iran, in America as well.
Absolutely.
And in
Absolutely.
Palestine, you're seeing what the oppression that's happening to the Palestinians. You see the same energy there. No?
That's a very unfortunateness with the Palestinian representation.
So I'm seeing a different energy there now.
I was just about to respond to you. Because as you talked about the curtailing of rights and responsibilities, as I said to you in that previous debate that we had, the representation for the Palestinian people, my heart bleeds and I cry for the Palestinian people, but their representation in the form of Hamas is tragic. Just to both sides it, the Jews, the Israelis, throughout history...
Don't want to be cancelled there.
They can't cancel me. The Israelis historically maybe did some dodgy negotiations and stuff, but still, I'm just very annoyed that violence and terrorism is like the prevailing method by which the representation for the Palestinian people.
You can say the same about Donald Trump, right? I mean, Donald Trump is illegally invading Venezuela, Greenland, announcing he's going to do the same to Cuba and Colombia. So we can say the same about the leadership of America. A lot of Brits are saying the same about the leadership over here with regards to Keir Starmer curtailing freedom of speech in this country. No, you may disagree, but a lot of people are making that argument over here.
Sure.
Not as bad, I would say, with regards to America, which is, I mean, completely becoming, going towards authoritarianism.
Yeah.
So would you
We've really let them get out of hand. Sorry, we've really let them get out of hand.
Are we in a position to keep them in or out of hand?
We'll see.
Especially after World War II, we're not in that position anymore.
But so I agree. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll definitely. If I could land the bloody sword of justice on Trump, I most certainly would. Congress should impeach that motherfucker. This guy is checks and balances. He's just trampling through all of the bloody checks and balances. This motherfucker, I've got no holdback on that geezer.
And Netanyahu as well, right?
Yes, although it's a bit more of a complicated situation. The rules of war and the international order and the vagaries of the contracts and such. If any sort of bodies and things were to try to issue forth edicts through courts that are enshrined, then I would fall in line with marching with the deployment of justice to even leaders of Netanyahu.
Surely we've got the biggest organizations on the planet and the biggest experts saying what's happening is ridiculous. You don't want to use certain terminologies, but 70,000 people, bro, compared to any standards, it's preposterous.
I like to have my heart, and I cry and bleeds for these people.
And the person doing that, the least we can say, he's a piece of shit.
I'm just so weary to say it, because I don't know enough. My intuition says, he's probably a massive dick. Yeah, he's probably an absolute, use any word you like, war criminal. He's a war criminal, let's not...
How do you know enough about what's going on in Iran, though? That's the interesting thing.
No, so let me just enshrine that. Netanyahu probably most certainly, definitely is a war criminal. I am not a lawyer and don't have all the evidence, but I will say that's my intuition. Second thing, when it comes to Iran, you ask me, well, how do I know about Iran? No, remember, I'm coming to ask you about what you think. Because I set up this idea of nations or the intervening within other nations. So I set up this idea, I'm the head of a nation, I have great intelligence and great military might and strategic power. And let's say I see the suffering of a people...
Did you say head of a nation, or yes. I understood that to be generic? As individuals that can...
No, I am the man who says.
Okay.
Yeah, and like literally I'm getting informed that there is a movement, a liberation movement, of people that are going to throw off the shackles of their oppression. Okay. And it says, oh, by the way, if you were to like strategically strike in these areas, you would like aid the advancing of the banner.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the US and Iran are not, the US and Israel are not in a position to be doing that. If it was maybe a body of countries that, like you said, when it comes to an international court, that people have convened, and we have a clearer picture that said country is committing atrocities or crimes against humanity, then But if it's an individual country that is acting unilaterally, I think that's problematic.
Yeah, okay, I'm cool. Let's side that then. But we'll side that idea of nations intervening in other nations. Oh well, I think that's actually more tangled than I would like, because you said. The Iranian uprising at the moment is commingled with Mossad and the US. You're saying this situation is already tinged by this unilateral action of two nations.
It became tinged,
Yeah. So we are now and living now. What path would you like to see for the Iranian future?
For the Iranian future, I would like as always, the Iranians to decide their future. Just like the same was my answer for Palestinians, the same was my answer for Kashmiris. I'm consistent with this.
So
the same
democracy,
with the UK as well.
democracy.
Let the people decide.
Like democracy.
So the law within the country, like
Democracy.
Right. Is democracy in Iran though? That's the thing.
You think there is democracy?
No,
in
I'm
Iran?
asking. Is there democracy?
No, absolutely not.
So then how would it be decided?
No, we want
democracy.
So I would say the establishment of democracy takes effort, and that effort comes from different areas. That's
I don't think democracy is the standard that we should be measured by. Yeah.
But you just said it. You just said I want the Iranian people to have their say.
Yes.
I keep that.
Only
Keep it down.
Jesus Christ. Only
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, the Son of
throwing
God.
you
I
off,
won't be
isn't he?
silent for an atheist, my friend. I won't be silent for atheism. Atheism is
Okay, I'll turn to
nonsense.
Christianity. Will that silence you?
Sorry?
I'll turn to Christianity. Will that silence you?
No, nothing's going to silence me, my friend.
How
I love
unfortunate.
Jesus Christ. I believe on the Lord Jesus Christ.
We can edit this out, can't we?
I will not be silenced by the foolishness of atheism.
He's gonna go and drink the blood of Christ, so it's not exactly.
Do you know where I can get some of that from? What were we talking about? You said.
So I was talking about democracy. Well, I think he's
I need a beer.
leaving speakers corner. So
Yes,
there's
sorry. Well, it's the idea of you said democracy. I want the people of Iran and Palestine and all situations that you believe that people having their say on what have self-determination. This is known as self-determination, and I am triumphantly behind you. Anyway, that's what we call. That's what should be the Western Front: self-determination of all peoples. That should be our absolute banner. And then you said, and I called that word democracy. And then you said, well, there are other ways that people can have their say. I think that's what you're alluding to, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, I'll let you.
Yeah, so when it comes to democracy, there's different forms of democracy. Like even Plato disagreed. Even
Jesus, never heard of it.
even Plato, he
Yes,
didn't appreciate this kind of form of democracy,
Yes,
which is
indeed.
that the uninformed masses
Indeed.
get to decide on things that they
True.
have very little knowledge over.
Yes.
A lot of people are linking that to Brexit. Yeah. So democracy and control of the people in what sense?
Yes.
Do they elect certain individuals like Plato and these guys said that you elect certain philosophers, then the philosophers will make the decisions for you, which is a form of democracy, or is it democracy which is of the people? But then of the people in what sense? What if a country has been like the democracy that we have today, which gets manipulated by propaganda, gets manipulated by the party, which gets the most funding? He's doing it on purpose.
I know.
So, but watch when I call him to debate. He's gonna,
The meek shall inherit the world. Look how meek he is.
Absolutely. And so in that case, certain people that are going for the presidential race, those individuals as well.
You're totally right.
Who are they being funded by? So this democracy, as was understood before, is different to how it's understood now. How it was understood by Plato is different to how it's understood now. But the bottom line is that it should not take an invading force, a nefarious force, a force that has other ideas, not the benefit of the country at hand, to decide the fate of the country. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded.
No, that's totally fine. I've regained my calm recently. I had jitters for a long time, but I've sort of regained my calm. You're saying there's different forms of democracy. You were saying it's not perfect. I definitely will jump on that as well. The Brexit and the stupidity of the masses can be a tyranny. And also its manipulation by Russia and outside Cambridge Analytica and whatever. We are suffering propaganda. We are not absolutely free. We're advertising and all sorts of little mind games are going on all the time to our civility. So to just like me come in and say, just give all the reins of power to all the people and they'll gallop along lovely. I'm not so sure it always works so lovely, but we got to be careful like how we're going to evaluate how we want to live. So I think even with all these problems that you've thrown at democracy, I will still say no. Let the people decide, let them make their own bed and then let them lie in their own bed. It is better to be free and to like have the hardships of your bad decisions than to sort of be controlled and curtailed and restricted so much that you don't even have the liberty to go wrong. You're just marching along in some grueling state. I think it's better, just repeating myself, better to suffer your own errors and learn from them, that hope would be. And I think that we actually have a tremendous evidence, this is my evidence, I'm not really citing any source, that Cambridge Analytica, the manipulation of Facebook News and such like this, the cultural space is so... do you want to have any sort of say? The cultural space is people's minds, and I think we adapt like the immune system adapts to new viruses and novel forms of manipulation. I think there's a current upgrading of the psyche to be on defense to these mind threats. And so I will say, giving people power, and they have the aliveness and the adaptation to, like, if they have the time and space and energy to adapt to the errors that they cause themselves, the own harm, we can still navigate. So I'm still 100% self-representation of democracy.
It's very difficult in this day and age of media manipulation as well, because the question now arises would be, who controls the media? Yeah, who influences the media? In the UK, the media is heavily influenced by Rupert Murdoch. In the US, Larry Ellison has a lot of control over entertainment, and we know his relationship with Netanyahu, which is very problematic. So the question now is that who is actually informing these minds that are going to, vote for these people, who are influencing these senators that are in, power. Who are the lobby groups? There's so many kind of moving parts in this that it's not as simple as, let the people decide, let them do what they're doing. There's a lot of intricacies and a lot of, especially with Iran. Like there are a lot of countries that want Iran's downfall. Yeah, Saudi wants Iran's downfall. Yeah. Israel wants Iran's downfall. Many Iranians want Iran's downfall. So that's why I'm saying that these sorts of issues, like what's the root, what's contributing, in order to make an informed commentary on this, I think we need to have the facts. Just like when I switched it to Israel and Palestine, you immediately went on a similar kind of vein, and you were a bit on the fence there as well, even though I do appreciate you said Netanyahu's a war criminal. I know you.
I mean my intuition is that he's a war criminal, but yeah.
Your informed intuition, right?
Half informed.
Okay, now you're making it worse now.
Well,
because I would have thought that was your view. I remember that to be your view consistently.
I mean, if the court's whispered in my ear, the charge is laid that he needs to be brought to justice, and it's been proven that he's a war criminal.
Wasn't there an arrest warrant issued for
Yes,
him?
I know, but that's only, isn't it, for him to show up in court or something? It's just to have the trial be done. I'm saying I give it over. Anyway.
But there hasn't been an arrest warrant for Trump. There hasn't been for the Ayatollah. There hasn't even been for Kim Jong-un, but there has been for Netanyahu.
Yes, I know, but I don't want to get dragged into a Palestinian-Israeli thing.
No problem. So let's circle back to the initial premise of our discussion. Is suffering evil?
This is because, yes, I think we are trying to do something here. We're trying to do the philosophies that we stand by, the frameworks by which we analyse the world. And then we're trying to bring the world into display and look at it through our lenses. And so you're saying, is suffering wrong? And so then we said, suffering can sometimes lead to growth, and Dostoevsky said the soul can get larger with pain. As I said, one of my friends go toward pain because of this. And so, but I'm trying to stay in the real world after having developed my lens, and trying to keep it to do with Iran. And we're asking, You're
really obsessed with Iran, isn't
yes,
it?
I am
everywhere.
I am very, very obsessed with Iran.
Even though
the Iranian people are the most beautiful.
Yeah, that issue hasn't gone to the international court, and I think we should withhold judgment, just like you've done with Netanyahu.
No, sorry, sir.
Then it's a double standard.
No, revolution is not a dinner party.
Say the same for the Palestinians. Is he? Why? Why? The way to where? Where is he taking us?
Revolution is not a dinner party. You said, the same way Israel-Palestine is not a dinner party, so therefore the Palestinian people need to run.
What are you measuring the whole Iran thing by? Curious.
So for the past 7-8 years, I've been slightly getting information about that state for a little while. I'm interested that it's Sorry?
From?
Just the internet. I try and wide sources. One of the things I'd say is someone travelled around Iran. And
why couldn't you do the same for Palestine and come to a decision?
So I've already iterated that the Palestinian people and the people of Gaza, I can't empathise with them anymore. I really hate that it has to be like that. If any force is So
you stand with them against Israel?
I stand against any force that liberates the Gazan people, full stop.
So you stand against Israel, right?
Where Israel takes any action that can scuffle a path towards peace, liberation and justice on both sides, I will stand against them.
And you're saying they have done that because you label Netanyahu a war criminal, right?
Yeah, I think the methods by which Netanyahu enacted his war are way beyond the pale.
So you stand against them?
Yes. Well, it's because he is fighting a war. There are terrorists on the other side. There are people with bombs and missiles that are shooting people. There's people that marauded over the fence and murdered people.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you killed 70,000 people.
I totally agree. The way he enacted his, I was going to call it retribution, what he's not allowed to do. It's not allowed to be retribution. The way he tried, he's totally wrong. Get the court to say it, not me. I'll nudge them to say it.
Same for Iran, though.
No, with Iran, what we got in Iran, we have a regime that is trying to create the framework for the society, and it's trying to get all of the civilians to march in line with that framework. And then the Iranian people are like, actually, I don't think I want to march in line with the Iranian regime. And then the regime says, well, we're going to use force and violence. And then I say, oh shit, people are dying on the streets of Iran. And I say, I've been tracking the people of Iran for a little while. I know of a few movements. I like the liberation of people. So like in an emergency situation, what side am I going to jump on? I'm going to say, from what I know, I'm going to jump on the people's side. I'm going to say, if we can topple the regime, I would be...
So does that mean, just to clarify, you're on the side of the Palestinians against Israel?
Yes. If a Palestinian movement came about and said, we understand how to to construct a civil path towards liberation, justice and peace, I'd say, yeah, I'm in.
Well, Iran doesn't have that, but you're still on the side of the people.
So the Iranian people, they're marching, they're saying, we're annoyed, we're very annoyed. And then the Iranian people, the Iranian regime started shooting them. So they started shooting them. So in the defense of the Iranian people, it's an emergency. We must defend them from getting shot.
Right. So that means what exactly?
Well, it means, in my opinion, any nation that has the capacity or intelligence to do very surgical operations, or any people should just support it. It should be like the vibrations of our thoughts should be, fucking go on, Iranian people. We do not like theocratic regimes edicting rules that they think they have that are the good way to do. And then in supporting them rules with violence and force. We don't like that. We want the freedom of people, and you should be hurrahing with me.
But bear in mind, our conversation started with that premise, that we said that the protests started off legitimate, but they were tainted later on. So we already accepted that axiomatically, right?
Yeah, but the problem is, I asked you to update all of this then to say, okay, we are here and now. So what path forward? Because we can't extract the corruption, as you call it, of this movement. We can only go from now forward. And so let's say this movement is tinged. So now, and we've got the regime here, like, what do we want to do? Like, what do we want to do? Like, now, if I accept that maybe some messages have come from Mossad, CIA is like saying, come on, guys, let's have a little fighty fight. Like, what do we want to do? What?
Same thing that people are expecting to happen in Israel and Palestine, which is the international community to get involved, the issue to go to court.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Absolutely not. There's completely different parameters. You do not take a situation like this to the international court. This is not what was decided for. This is clear cut. A movement of the people trying to regain their liberty and freedom.
What about Palestine? And if the Israelis are killing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, do the Palestinians have a right to use violence against the Israelis?
It's funny.
In the same way as you're saying, the Iranians should be using violence against the regime there.
It's funny. You started your thing by saying, "What about?"
No, it's not.
Excuse me, sir. You're interrupting me.
It's not what about.
But you literally opened your sentence. What about? You keep interrupting me.
Is it right?
He keeps interrupting me.
Well, forget the what about. Okay, I was wrong to use what about.
Okay, so make your point again then.
Is it right for the Palestinians to use violence?
No, sorry. I hate violence. Sorry, go.
You hate violence.
Go. Yeah, I really do. Yeah.
But you're quite happy that the Israelis are killing hundreds of thousands.
No, I'm not happy with that.
All
Don't put words in my mouth.
In that case, what would it be not necessary for the Palestinians to use violence against the violence of the Israeli state?
You said it the other way around now. Necessary. So in the establishment of democracy and liberty and justice, maybe force and violence is needed. However, I think, and I would advise the Palestinians not to use violence. I think diplomacy, negotiation, and trying to get the international community on their side and to come up with plans of actual delineating two states that can work harmoniously next to each other, and then try to expose the gefungelings of the Israeli government and where it scuffles the negotiation. But you still have to hold tight to a clear negotiated plan for a two-state peaceful settlement to this problem.
But that's not what the UN says. That the UN says that if your country's been taken over,
you have the right to defend, self-defense.
Yeah,
I know, but that does not mean establishing rockets in schools, mosques, and other places and firing barrages of rockets. Anyway, they are free to do whatever they like. I am advising them to not do it. That's all I'm saying. You have a better path.
So let's come back to our original point, which I'm curious to know. How do you decide which suffering is evil and which suffering is good?
Yes. Me.
And under what framework?
I'm a bit of a butterfly. I dislike all suffering. If I could get rid of all suffering, sign me up to utopia. Bliss upon bliss, I say. All suffering is bad.
All suffering is bad.
Yes, sir.
So you'd have no exams.
Yes, sir.
You'd have no learning, no growth.
I'll get the growth, but just the nice way. Just nice growth.
But wouldn't you argue that having no suffering is itself suffering?
No.
Because if there's no death, then you're forcing said person to live on forever because no suffering, right?
Who said death is suffering? Death is a glory.
But I would argue for majority of the people, death is suffering.
Yeah, the majority of people are idiots. Don't tell me what they think.
But generally speaking, if we take away death, we take away the gym, we take away, aspirations of careers and stuff like that. All of these things are attained through pain. And if you take that away from people, you're taking away growth, you're taking away the very things that a lot of people attribute to their purpose.
Yes, I agree. There's a quote that stuck in my head that made me zone out a little bit, which is, what is it? So long as death exists, liberty will never die, or something like that. Dictators always die. Death is the thing that will make us relive.
Yeah.
But you were making a broader point. My mind got dragged away. About all of these areas of real life whereby you must engage with the cold of the speaker's corner to have the debate, or you must engage with the bloody annoyance of going to the gyms to get them big muscles to get the ladies. But if we could get all of the end results without having to do any of the work, sign me up. Do you know what I mean? I want to be a happy-go-lucky chap.
So how do you decide? Because in your head, you think suffering in its entirety is bad.
Yes.
How do you arrive and link suffering to evil? Because one is a material reality and one is a moral inference.
Yes. So I very, very, very rare use the word evil, but if I think what you're trying to get with that is let's say the suffering of the Iranian people at the hands of the oppression of the Iranian regime, I would call that evil because the suffering they suffer becomes abstracted into this restriction of liberty, which I think is like a moral infringement. And so that's evil to infringe upon someone's morality. I think that's the way I could chuck that word in there.
So consequentialism?
No, just like vibe check.
So, but didn't you say based upon what's going on in Iran and the consequences of what's going on in Iran, therefore it's evil?
The problem is I would never use the word evil. I was trying to use...
bad.
Because of the suffering caused by the Iranian regime, I would do it as bad. Yes,
what
exactly.
if there wasn't suffering?
If there wasn't suffering, then I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. Bless you.
So you could commit or you could inflict suffering, but as long as it doesn't lead to bad things.
No, you've got a massive tautology there.
No,
you
suffering and bad. Because the whole question is suffering bad, right? Is suffering bad?
Yes, definitely.
So if someone inflicts suffering, then because it's not bad, then it should be fine.
No.
Right?
No. In the logical statements there, you have a one-to-one equality of suffering and bad. That I have determined suffering as bad, so it's instantly one and one. So there's any suffering inflicted.
Let me give you an example. As a teacher, if I'm preparing my kids for GCSE, and we're going hard for 1 month, so they're suffering, would you say that's bad or would you say that's good?
Suffering.
Hang on a second. The audience isn't allowed to speak.
But you're mixing the definitions.
Is it bad or good?
School children learning, how is that suffering?
So what we do here, we call this the accounting. This is the utilitarian framework and accounting. We write out, okay, the kid doesn't like sitting down at the table. He has to pay his mind to the homework, but throughout his whole life, he has a better prospects, and so the amount of goodness that comes from his homework is much larger than the amount of suffering caused, and so we do a utilitarian calculation. Yeah. Go on. Do you want to take the mic? Go on, get him, Alex. Go on, get him.
But when you say
Are you stepping out?
I think my mind is about to fry.
Can you define suffering?
Are you coming in?
I don't want to be on camera.
Well, then there's no point of you then,
I've
isn't
seen
it?
you online talking to that Bob the Builder fella.
Didn't he?
He is.
He's so. What do you
You
think?
came with so much energy today and you're tapping out.
Well, you know, high energy
No,
burns bright.
Absolutely. Let me take the mic then.
Yeah. What do you think of that Bob fella?
Bro, the thing with Christianity, the way I'm seeing it now,
Don't do it like that.
is
Don't do that.
bro. Let's be honest.
Christianity's way too big. Bob is one character.
No. What I'm saying is
go on then. Yeah, go on.
that Christianity, generally speaking, has been on a decline for a very long period of time. There's so much division. There's so much division amongst them. The easiest way, a lot of characters at Speaker's Corner have found a way to boost Christianity is through aligning with the far right. That's why you've got what's his name, Little Bob or whatever his name is.
I know.
He's on stage with Tommy Robinson.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I totally agree with your
So,
assessment.
and I think Bob's doing the same thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.